And so for the people perhaps in those moments of desolation that have turned to Pornhub, is like you said, they're offering like, hey, we want to do our part in spreading, preventing the spread of coronavirus. So to help you to stay home, we're going to offer free porn for a month of exclusive membership. And I've seen the stats of the research where they said, look what happened in the United States, in Germany, in Russia, and Slovakia, like just skyrocketing rates of tapping into people's desolation to offer them this false consolation. And so during these moments of boredom, of loneliness, of anger, stress, or like these moments that we're all triggered to think temptation's more alluring than it really is, when porn is offered, what advice would you give to somebody who's really going through those low moments when they're tempted to grasp it's something for that immediate fix? What would you offer them as, pastoral guidance for how to be able to reject that immediate false consolation for something that's really going to bring them comfort?
That's a good question, and I think the answer is that I would have to do somewhat of an assessment of where the person is at. If somebody is just really in a compulsion of pornography, it's going to be different. My advice would be different than if somebody who maybe relapsed into it. So if somebody just is completely like powerless against the drug that is pornography, I would recommend for them to research the 12 steps. I would recommend for them maybe even to look into like some sort of therapeutic group. But if I had time to go one-on-one, there's always these root causes. Pornography, masturbation, those are symptoms of a deeper longing of the human person. I was reading Fulton Sheen this morning, Free to Get Married, because I have interesting side note. I'm having all these couples like getting married, and I think COVID like pushed them like, okay, we're gonna do this. We want to marry, so I have all these weddings coming up. So that's another talk, I guess. And so I'm reading Fulton Sheen, Free to Get Married, and he's talking about it's not the sexual organs that commit sex, it's the person. It's not the intellect that thinks, it's the person. And ultimately, sexual excess or sexual depravity, it's a moral thing, not a physical, biological thing. And I think that's where some of the confusion comes. And when people are able to see that they can make those distinctions and see that it's a spiritual desire that's longing to be filled in a unsustainable way, they begin to kind of like step back and look for real alternatives. Then they need to build up spiritual strength. And usually it's like you have to, it's like getting in shape. It's like you can think about getting in shape, but until you start exercising, no matter where you're at, little by little, you got to build it up over time. And in moral theology, as you know, Jason, we call this, building up a habitus. It takes time to build a habit. It takes time to break habits, but it is possible. And that's what I would tell somebody who feels completely powerless. If somebody is like relapsing, like having like maybe going through a crisis, lost their job, their wife wants to divorce them, their kids don't listen to them, or it's just a single person that just feels completely alone and fell back into it, I would say, go to confession, seek wise counsel, and begin again. Don't get lost in the sin. If I may, a couple days ago, a woman who is doing great, she shared with me that she fell back into this. People tell priests these things. She fell back into the sin after a very long time, and my advice to her was like, okay, it's okay. Go to confession and begin again. It's easier to stop it right away than it is to kind of like be pulled down into like this hole of like, oh, here I am again, fell back into it, I'm worthless, and all that negativity rises up. It's easier to just like stop. No, that's not me. That happened. I'm a sinner. I'm forgiven. I go to confession and I begin again. Not pretending like it didn't happen, but acknowledging it and then starting off right where you left off is my advice to two categories of people that deal with the same struggle.
That's awesome. No, one of the points that struck me as you were speaking is just the importance of habits. Virtue is that, habit within the moral life. But a lot of times we get into a habit of sin, so to speak, of just like, I'm bored, I turn to this, or I'm getting ready to go to bed, so I'm just going to surf social media for a half hour. And then people get into these habits that are gateways and portals to sin. Well, you said you're reading this morning, Fulton Sheen. Well, maybe reading at bedtime needs to be your new habit. That instead of the cell phone being the thing that puts you to bed, make it a holy book. I think it was Saint Jose Maria Escriva said, don't neglect holy reading, because reading has made many saints. You think of like Saint Ignatius of Loyola, when he got his leg blown in half with a cannonball, kind of got stuck in the hospital, and he had no option but to read the religious books all those nuns kept shoveling him. And then this tremendous conversion happened as a result of it. So maybe find a good holy book, and then when you go to bed, I know sometimes when we're in that bad state, you're like, well, I don't want to go through the effort of reading, because typically porn takes no effort. Lust always takes no effort. It's like being a log just floating downstream. You just go with the passions, whereas self-mastery requires you kind of swim upstream, so to speak. But assess and evaluate your affective state after making both choices. Because if you read a good holy book for 20 minutes, you look at where you're at afterwards. It's just peace, contentment. And then you look where you're at after 20 minutes of doing pointless junk. And it's just I just feel lower than I was when I got started on this. Now, obviously with porn, it's not just a guy issue, girl issue, but hey there, I hope you enjoyed that little clip. But if you want to see the whole episode where this came from, just click the link here. And in the meantime, we want to invite you to help us share this message. And there's a couple things you can do real quick. Number one, if you like or comment or share this video, YouTube will actually show it to more people. Also, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. We release videos every single day, and you'll be notified as soon as those come out. If you want to help us also to spread this message, you can support us at patreon.com/Jason Evert. That helps us to create these videos and show them to the whole world. God bless. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that little clip. But if you want to see the whole episode where this came from, just click the link here. And in the meantime, we want to invite you to help us share this message. And there's a couple things you can do real quick. Number one, if you like or comment or share this video, YouTube will actually show it to more people. Also, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. We release videos every single day, and you'll be notified as soon as those come out. If you want to help us also to spread this message, you can support us at patreon.com/Jason Evert. That helps us to create these videos and show them to the whole world. God bless.